Hi and welcome back. I've been trying to get the right angle for this lovely lady here in the corner on the bottom of the grow shelf under Barina lights, and it's just not going to work. So I'm going to pull her out and we are going to talk about her on today's Phriday Phalaenopsis. In the first episode of the Phriday Phalaenopsis series, I had asked if there was a particular orchid in my collection that you're aware of that you'd like for me to speak about on this one. And Miss Rayanne said she'd like to know a little bit more about Chattaladae. Today we are going to talk about Phalaenopsis Cornu-Cervi variation Chattaladae. The way that I care for mine is I treat it as intermediate. Although if you go online, you can read it is a cold to hot grower. That doesn't tell you much. So I figure intermediate is just right, because almost all of my orchids I do grow in intermediate, seeing as I grow in my living room. Average temperature here is about 75 degrees, whether the air conditioning is running or whether I have the heat on. Now, during the spring to about this time of year, November, I do open the windows quite a bit, so of course that temperature can vary, but on average it's about 75 degrees. She has been living, like I was showing you at the beginning, on the back of the bottom shelf under Barina lights. Now her pot is sitting right here because that is where I'm going to move her once I'm done with the video. My thought process behind that is I think she's getting too much light. So I've been doing a little bit of research, and some of our Cornu-Cervi do not require as much light as we think. So maybe that is why she's not growing quite as much. Maybe I'm stressing her with too much light. So I will be putting her down there. And although it looks really bright, the brightness is going to be behind her, and the bulk of her light that she's going to get is actually coming from this east-facing window, hoping that that will help. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong below, but I've been kind of observing, and I've noticed that my orchids that are under really bright light don't create the nice big leaves. Most of the Cornu-Cervi, especially the Chattaladaes, have the big fat leaves, similar to a lot of our hybrid Phalaenopsis. And I kind of want those fat leaves. I'm thinking that with the light, she's not having to make such a broad span of her leaf, and therefore is getting enough light to survive. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Now, this one has never bloomed for me. She's probably another year or two off of blooming because I have stressed her quite a bit. Initially, I put her in an all moss perlite setup in a pot that was way too big, stayed way too wet. My thought process at the time, I was still kind of learning about the polychilus, is they wanted to stay wet longer, they don't like the drying, etc., etc. Well, Miss Madam here, which I call mine Madam Chatty, she decided that she did not like to stay wet that long and dropped most of her roots. So then I put her into a small bark heavy moss mix. Again, she was staying wet too long. So recently I did repot her into this mix here. It's a clear pot with no holes. It is fir bark and perlite that I received from our sponsor, the Orchid Supply Store, which if you want to get 12% off your next order when you go, I will put their link in the description below. And then you can use the coupon code TRISH at checkout and get your 12% off of anything that you order. She does have a few roots that are now kind of showing in the pot. Sorry about the glare. So especially right there, you see that growing tip, that's lovely. And you can see there's a little bit of moss throughout, but not heavy. It's just enough to kind of keep the moisture throughout the pot a little bit longer, because the way that I've been watering her since I transitioned her is I wait for it to get just about dry. So once I see, especially this area right here, almost dry, then I will just run some water along the edges and let her sit in this pot here, because I'm thinking she does not require as much water right now as I thought, because she does not have as many roots. Now she is putting off lots of aerial roots, and according again to the scrolls, they need anywhere from 50 to 70% humidity. Here in my living room, I generally have anywhere from 35% to 40%. Here lately, it's been running about 40%, even with the heat on, which is amazing. So I'm not sure about, the humidity requirements. If you read anything on the orchids, every orchid needs high humidity, and those of us who grow, especially in our homes, know they don't need as high as the scrolls recommend. Will they grow better? Obviously, everything grows better under its ideal conditions. Temperature-wise, they can go down to about 57 degrees Fahrenheit, but you don't want to keep them cold too long. They do prefer it to be on the warmer end of the spectrum because they are, from those warmer areas. Again, with lighting, they will tell you that they prefer anywhere from bright light to bright shade. Again, let's do intermediate, and that's another reason why I'm moving her to a bright shade area, because I've had her under bright light and she doesn't seem to like it that well. She's grown 2 leaves for me in a year and a half. So I don't think she wants too bright of a light. I'm maybe stressing her too much with that. Also, the actual species Cornu-Cervi is said to be a fragrant orchid. I don't believe that this lady, the Chattaladae, is a fragrant orchid. If you have a Chattaladae that has bloomed for you, let me know if you've detected any fragrance from her. So I've never seen her in person, obviously, because she's never bloomed for me. But I have a little surprise. I've got this lovely box here that has come to me from Nina from Ninja's Orchids, and I'm going to see if I can unbox it with one hand. But it is, so if you're a Ninja with Nina's membership, you know about this. You get mugs. And my recent mug, she asked me, what flower I wanted to put on there, and I told her I wanted Chattaladae. And I'm trying to do this with one hand and not break anything. Hold on, let me move the lazy Susan, and maybe she'll stay still for me. Put this behind me, so if it falls, well, I'll edit out the big noise. So let's see if I can do this. So I've had this now for almost a week, and I've been trying not to look in the box because I want to see it with you guys, and I can't get it to open here. Hold on. All right, I'm just going to have to, give me a second. I'm going to put you guys down. I'll edit this part out. Okay, so finally got that out. So it's packaged really well. It was in there snug as a bug. All right, so Chattaladae blooms from Nina's collection should be on here. Let's see. Oh, yes. All right, move the box out of the way. Oh, yes. So this, ladies and gentlemen, is what the Phalaenopsis Chattaladae should look like. And ever since Nina pointed out the smile, do you see the smile on her? That is just too cute. Let me see if I can do it without a glare on there. There it is. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful? So that is what we have to look forward to on my Chattaladae. Another thought I was thinking was to put her here with my African violets and sit right in front of the window. Haven't fully decided. I think I will just test her over here for a couple of months and see what happens. And if she doesn't do anything there, then we can move her over here. Let me know what you think down below. And until next Friday, just end on this beautiful, beautiful mug. Love it. Look at that.